What's going on, everybody? Thank you to everybody joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive, being joined by Joe Habib as well from Ringside Reporter. All right, we have Nicola here. How is it going? How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're doing very, very well. It's Nicola Hurricane Hopewell. You can follow her on Twitter at Boxer Hopewell. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. First of all, the first thing I want to ask you is this. So I understand that you turned pro. You're 2-0 as a pro, right?
Yeah.
However, I had a little bit of a confusion, and maybe you could clear that up for us and maybe teach us something, right? Because we're over here stateside, right? Is this like a league you're fighting in? Like what exactly? Because you're not on BoxRec, so what exactly is it where you're fighting right now?
I'm on box ranking. We're not on box rec, so I box under the Bieber board, not the British Boxing Board of Control. I'm on the Bieber, so it's still a professional boxing board, but all our records go on box ranking, not box rec. But we can still box for all the same titles. The only difference is we can't box for a British title, but for women there isn't a British title anyway. So for me, it doesn't really make a difference if I'm with Bieber or the British Boxing Board of Control, because I can still box for the same titles.
Okay, so you could still be ranked in WBC and all the sanctioned belts?
Yeah.
Okay. What prompted your decision to turn pro, to join the professional ranks?
So I was an amateur for 6 years, and I feel like I achieved everything I could. So I did box cups, I boxed for belts, I got 3 belts in my amateur career. I got gold and silver medals from box cups. I boxed in the nationals. I got to the the finals in the nationals, and I just lost to the GB girls on quite a few occasions. Then I started boxing the same girls over and over again, and it was quite hard for me to get an opponent for shows, etc. So I just decided that turning pro were the next level I wanted to go to, and for a different experience as well, really.
Different experience, right? So even with where you're fighting right now, as far as that goes, you still the gloves got smaller, right?
Yeah. I fight in smaller gloves, yeah.
Now, I want to tell you this. I remember I saw like an interview of Fernando Vargas years ago where he said it didn't hit him until he was in the locker room and they put on his gloves. He was like, man, like this, it really hit him, right?
Yeah.
Did you have that same experience?
Yeah, the gloves are a lot smaller than, they were smaller than what I was expecting. But before I had my fight, my coach got me some of the same size gloves as what I was going to fight in. So I could at least get used to him on the pads. I couldn't body spar or head spar in them in the gym because they're too small. But I've practiced pads and everything on them. But the feel of them is totally different.
Totally different. Go ahead, Beeb.
So the league that you're in right now, can you kind of describe that to people who aren't really familiar with it? Because we're used to looking up fighters and being able to pull them up on BoxRec and stuff like that. Just describe the type of league that you're in right now, and are you able to kind of cross over? You said you were able to kind of cross over, but do you think other female fighters that are in other organizations and even fighters over from the United States, do you plan on kind of meshing with these types of female fighters and getting fights with these types of opponents as well?
Yeah, definitely. I'll box. Well, we can box anybody. So I can box people from the United States. I can box people from different countries. I can even box the people under the British Boxing Board of Control. If it's for a title, I can box them. So
okay,
I guess there's not much difference really. It's just a different boxing board.
So it's just basically a different boxing board, but it's
just still a different boxing board. It's not like a different league or anything like that. It's just a separate board.
So the rules the same as the British Board of Boxing Control, or are they different? And if
I believe they're the same.
They're basically the same.
They're basically the same.
I got you. Now, I noticed that you have a lot of charity on your Twitter timeline. Is that a big part of what you do behind the scenes? Is that one of your passions to kind of give back to the less fortunate and people who are in need? Is that something that you are driven towards? Not more so just boxing, but helping people in general?
Yeah, it is. So I do quite a lot of charity work because we do a lot through the gym as well. What you've been seeing on my Twitter this week. So I've also got a full-time job at quite a big retailer over here. I'm an assistant space planning manager. And I'm also on our works charity team. So I like kind of head that up. And the challenge that we've set for December is it's called a 2.6 challenge. So you had to do something with the number 2.6 or 26. So I've been running 26 miles this week, and on Friday I'm going to just do 26 bag rounds, like straight off. Up to now, we've raised about £250, I believe. So that's going to go to 3 major charities in the UK. So it's something that's very passionate to me. I feel like I like to give back.
That's great.
Definitely. I did put the link there in the chat, guys. As far as this is the boxranking.com, right? You can find her information there. But I want to go back to that really quick because I know you said you are able to still fight for the same belts and all that. You don't. Is there a reason specifically why you're not fighting for the British Control Board and all that? Like, why the other sanctioning body?
Well, the gym I'm with, Boyles Pro Boxing, we've already got pro fighters, so the actual gym is already with that boxing board before I turned professional. So I just followed in the footsteps, and they do look after the boxers, and we've done some good shows. So I feel like it's a good move.
Okay. Right. And it is super flyweight. I did get that right? That's the division.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. We did get that question on there. All right. Do you have anyone on your sites? I know you just started, but in the women's rankings, not like the men's, there's not like 1,000 fighters per division. It's about 100, so you could move up the rankings pretty quick. Is there anyone that you see that's in your sites that you say to yourself, you know what, I could beat her, and that'll get me on the world stage?
I've not got a name of anyone in particular, but my plan is just to move through the ranks at my own pace and just improve from every fight, and hopefully that will lead to bigger fights and better opponents. That's the way I'm going, but I've not got a particular name that I want to box.
How many amateur fights do you have?
I had 32.
32. Okay. So do you feel like you have a lot more to progress because you don't have a ton of amateur fights? So are you looking to move a little bit slower now in the pro ranks because you don't have such an extensive amateur career, or are you looking to try to move as fast as you can? What type of pace would you like to move at?
I'm going to try and move as fast as I can. I don't want to hang around, but as long as I keep improving, keep winning, and I can move as quickly as I can, I will do. And I think over here, when I look at how many fights other boxers I've had in the space of time, I've had quite a lot, to be honest. I've had the 32 is quite a few.
So let me ask you a couple of questions that we hear a lot from female fighters. A lot of questions that we hear from fans about female fighters, and a lot of questions that female fighters have. A lot of the female fighters we're hearing now, like on Twitter, they're complaining a lot about female fighter pay. And I know you just got started right now, but is that something that you see as a concern for yourself or for the sport in general in regards to female boxing? And another question that keeps coming up is the 2-minute rounds. Some female fighters are happy that they have 2-minute rounds. Other female fighters would rather have 3. And then you have another camp that's saying, well, if we're going to fight 3 minutes, then they're going to have to pay us more. What are your thoughts on those two hot button issues right now that are in female boxing? I know that's a lot to unpack, but
well, I think if they want us to do, my view on it is, if they want boxers to do 3-minute rounds, then they need to pay the female boxers for doing the 3-minute rounds. And and equal it to what the men are getting paid, like sort of thing. Because then we're going to be doing the same amount. But in my amateur career, I did 2-minute rounds and 3-minute rounds, and I don't mind either. As long as you train for what you are going to be boxing, any if it's doable. I'm happy with the 2-minute rounds, but if they were to change it to 3, I'd happily do 3. But then, like you say, as long as we're getting the pay for the 3-minute rounds.
I got you.
Fair enough.
So what about the pay in general? Do you think that the pay is out of whack? Do you think it's too low compared to the men, or do you think that the women need to do more to bump up their status so they can get the more lucrative paydays? What are your thoughts on that in general?
I guess, like, not just me personally, because I've only just started, but a wider view of it. I think probably the women just need to up the status a little bit, and like they need to be headlining the shows, and they need to be getting the fans in, because I guess if they're getting the fans in and the fans are paying, then all that money is going towards the boxers. But if the females aren't getting the fans in, they're not going to get a pay increase, are they? If everyone's going to watch the men and not the women. So I guess they need to get the fans behind them first to get the people in the venues and people buying the fights.
I got you.
But, I guess some things that, boxing fans always wonder is this when it comes to women's boxing, right? The need for more knockouts, right? Because there's not that many knockouts percentage-wise in the women's ranks. However, me personally, a lot of they do have a lot of exciting action, right?
Oh yeah.
But I guess the argument would be if the rounds were 3 minutes, that means that you'll probably get more knockouts, earlier, therefore put in less work instead of fighting a full fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it might make some fights actually shorter, even though you're fighting more rounds.
Yeah,
and not only that, with more stoppages, it can make the women's more intriguing to watch, therefore bringing a broader audience. I mean, do you want to kind of elaborate on that? Do you think that's something that maybe can be talked about?
Yeah, I think if there are 3-minute rounds, like you can get to work and really, like, you can stop your opponent, but you can stop them in 2. But I think when you've got a 3-minute round, if you hurt them at the beginning of the round, you've then, like in the first minute, you've got 2 more minutes to stop, to hurt them again and stop them. Where in a 2-minute round, you've not really got that much time. If you get me. But I do feel that, especially in the lighter weights, women's boxing is exciting, and they're on the go and throwing constantly, and I do think they're exciting fights.
No, absolutely. Now I want to ask you. I mean, a young Nicola Hurricane Hopewell, like, who did you look up to? Like, which boxer was your favorite boxer to watch? Or was there somebody that inspired you to get into the sport?
My favorite 2 women boxers, so Nicola Adams and Katie Taylor. I can remember my first memory of watching boxing and being inspired by boxing was watching Nicola Adams win gold at one of the Olympics. I think it was the 2012 one. I was on holiday at the time, and I can remember going up to the hotel room with my cousin to watch her and when she won gold. And then it was kind of from there, really.
Well, I got to tell you, there's one thing that the women have a good point on is how behind we are in supporting the women. Look, the Olympics has men and women for every sport. Every sport. Yeah. Boxing just did it like 2 Olympics ago,
Yeah.
And look, it inspired you to get into the sport now. Watching, women fight in the Olympics. What type of impact do you personally see the Olympics having for women's boxing?
I feel like when girls, like younger girls, probably watch it, it just inspires them to think, I want to do that. I want to get onto the England team. I want to get onto the GB team and have that potential to eventually make the podium squad. But over here, they do like an England camp. I was on that, and you get opportunities to spar with different countries. I can remember going to the it's called the English Institute of Sport, and they had the Italian team come over, and I had a chance to spar the Italian team. So I feel like them watching the Olympics and getting into that, just that bit of inspiration and that motivation that they want to do that and eventually get to the squad. I think it's brilliant.
Can you describe your style? Like, what type of style of boxing are you trying to develop in the pro ranks? So one of the biggest issues, even with the men, is having them transition from the pro. From amateur to pro. Sometimes those amateur tendencies take a while to get out of. Well, what type of style are you trying to develop in the pro ranks?
I feel like my style's still quite similar. So I am a front foot boxer, and I do I constantly go forward. The biggest, I think the biggest transition for me was to maybe slow it down a little bit and be a little bit more patient rather than go rushing in. Because in the amateurs, I were only boxing 3 rounds. So all 3 rounds, I was constantly busy and constantly on the go to win the fight. But in the pros, my first 2 fights were scheduled for 6 rounds. So I had to pace myself, and then I think as well improving my strength and looking for that one punch that can stop your opponent, sort of thing, rather than going rushing in, throwing loads of shots that don't count.
Okay.
Just being patient and looking for them few shots that can really stop them.
It seems like you do a ton of strength and conditioning work. You do a lot of weight training, a lot of kind of aerobic type stuff, but with strength added into it.
Yeah.
Have you really? So you're basically trying to make a concerted effort to make yourself a power type fighter. Then you want the knockouts. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I trained. So that's how I've been training now for the last probably year. Because my first fight was in March last year, beginning of March. So yeah, I've probably been training like that for a year now, but it's really helped. That transition between the pro training and amateur training. Now I have increased my strength training. I have become a lot stronger. I'm still the same weight. I've not increased any muscle or anything like that. So I've still stayed at flyweight, which I'm also quite shocked at. But I do feel I've got stronger, and I have stopped both my opponents up to now. So
have you noticed a difference in your body composition though? Do you feel like you're actually leaner and you're carrying probably less body fat and you're probably more solid, but the weight distribution just kind of evens that out a little bit?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah, and I feel a lot stronger. And even my coach comments when I'm on the pads now how strong and how how powerful the shots are onto the pad, and you can hear it as well. And that's probably one of the biggest changes between amateur and pro as well. So I have become a lot stronger.
And you said you've been doing that for the last year?
Yeah.
Pretty much?
Yeah.
And you notice a huge difference?
Massive difference. It's a lot better.
Now, do you still do a lot of the other stuff that you've done in the past, or do you kind of take some stuff out, add some stuff in, trial and error it?
We trial and error it. We also try and mix it up a little bit at the gym. So we try and do different things every week. Some stuff does stay the same. Like we do a weight bar exercise that stays the same, but we do coordination drills. We do concentration drills, movement. We try and change them all the time just to keep the training a bit mixed. And so it's constantly new, and we're still engaged and interested.
Yeah.
And we're not doing the same stuff all the time, but there is elements of it that obviously do need to stay. But
are you the type of person that even when you don't have a fight, you have to do something, you have to keep busy, you have to do some type of training and conditioning, or because I notice I'm the same way. I hate sitting still, even if I just go for a walk or something. I just like to get the blood flowing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm very much like that. After my second fight, my coach said to us, take a week off. Oh, a week.
What's that?
So I had a few days off, and then I just went back into the gym and just doing a bit of light stuff, shadow boxing, just to keep ticking over really until my next camp started. But even I'm the sort of person, even on my rest day, I like to go for a walk. I'll not do anything with a lot of impact or a lot of cardio on my rest day, because I do. Your body does need that rest, but I will go out for a walk or something.
I will tell you one thing. If you do like a low intensity cardio workout, it actually speeds up your recovery because it gets the blood flowing to all those areas. So even if you take a day off and you're bored, if you go for like a walk for like an hour and a half, it actually will speed up your recovery.
Yeah, I do like to go for a walk.
I want to ask you this because the division you are in, I mean, I'm looking at the rankings and it's dominated by Mexican fighters. Okay.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
Right. So, it's even the women, right? They're Mexican warriors. Are you ready to go to war for a world title belt? Are you willing to go to Mexico? Are you willing to go to that hostile territory if needed?
If needed, yeah. As soon as I feel that I'm at that level, yeah, definitely. Okay. I'm going to keep improving after every fight, and then eventually I'll be ready for it. Yeah.
Now, I do have to say, they do got to get your record on BoxRec. I don't think the British Boxing Board should dictate who gets on BoxRec or not, because I'm telling you right now that's where all boxing fans go to check the rankings, to check the fighting.
I do get asked about it quite a lot.
Right. So if you fought professionally, if you had a professional fight, it should be on BoxRec. So we got to start a movement, everybody. We got to get the word out, and we got to get a record on BoxRec for sure. And I'm sure there's others as well, and all that good stuff.
There's a lot more who box under that board as well. And I don't know if that's the only board that doesn't go on BoxRec. I'm not sure.
Yes. Now we have a question from the chat from Sondeo Media. Shout out to you, man. He says, ask her if she thinks there's a promoter pushing harder than the rest for women's boxing. Is there a promoter that sticks out to you?
I think Eddie Hearn's doing a good job, especially with that the triple header he put on the other week. That were really good. I'm not sure if you watched it, but it had like Katie Taylor on there.
I saw that. Yeah, it was beautiful.
The Terry Harper one, the Rachel Ball. Yeah,
that was an awesome card.
It was a good card.
The women stole the show that weekend. That was the best card. That was the best card of the weekend.
Yeah, it was. There were 3 good fights on there as well.
Now,
really enjoyed it.
When you go to that page, which I did share, I noticed that the AC/DC song. Are you an AC/DC fan? Is that what that's about, or is that just the website playing that?
No, I think that's just the website.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, okay, what's good? All right, I don't know they play your favorite music.
Much too young for AC/DC. Much too young for AC/DC.
No, I don't know. I mean, hey, you never know. But I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. They play the fighter's favorite song or something, But anyway, that's what I noticed. But it's just okay. Well, I was gonna ask if you like Metallica. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know.
What are some of your?
Listen to it.
What are some of your great? What are some of your favorite bands to listen to?
I like anything in the charts really, and then I do like Little Mix. I like Katy Perry.
Wow.
Just stuff like that.
Like the Cranberries? Have you heard of the Cranberries?
No.
We're too old, Beeb. Come on, man.
Too old.
I feel old now, man. Well, thank you. I'm just but no, in all seriousness, I mean, we definitely, wish you the best. Like I said, I just think that a database, that's what BoxRec, it's a database for pro fights. Yeah. And they've had fights there from the history of boxing, and you belong there if you've had a professional fight, for sure. We have another question. I believe I already asked it. Let me just read it. Hopewell, who's your favorite female boxer of all time? What's her goal for 2021? Shout out to female boxers that are actually giving the boxing fans real fights. So you already answered the first question, part of it there, but what is your goal for 2021? What's your goal for next year?
So my goal for next year, I want to get out and box quite a few times. I've had a few fights cancelled this year because of COVID. I think it's getting. I think it's 4. I think I've had 4 cancelled this year, and one was only 2 weekends ago. So 2021, I want to try and get as many fights in as I can, and I want to move up them. I want to move up them rankings.
Hey, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
You have any final questions, Pete?
No, I just I'll ask one last one. Basically, what is the schedule for 2021 look like? How many fights do you think you're going to have next year?
I'm not sure. I want to try and get 5 at least.
Okay.
Wow. Nowadays,
Then
that's,
it's like one every two months and a bit of wriggle room in between, really.
hey, that's what I'm talking about. You know, stay active. You know what I mean? And 'cause we're used to just
I always
guys
say-
fighting twice. You
I
know.
always stay fit and ready, so I'm always ready to fight. I'm always fit and ready, so.
So you don't have to really drop too many pounds in between fights to get down to the weight.
No, I kind of walk around at my weight. Like probably the highest I go is probably 52 and a half, but that's kilos. But my weight it's like 51 to 52.1, I think. So I don't really have to drop a lot, and that's with me just eating normal, not sticking to a strict diet sort of thing. If I were to go, my coach has said to me, be prepared to, like, because I boxed at super flyweight, he has said to get the fights in, be prepared to move up or move down, either side of that. And I feel I could go lower, and I could go go the other way as well.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if you could make flyweight.
Yeah, I can make flyweight.
Okay, because you could have an advantage there. You know, so
Yeah. I used to box at flyweight because the weights are slightly different with the amateur and pro. I did used to box at flyweight as an amateur, and I did used to make it. So I'd be fine at that. And I was quite tall at the weight at flyweight.
How tall are you? 5'3"?
I'm about 5'2", 5'3", yeah. But for a flyweight, that's quite tall, I think.
That's good, yeah.
absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the chat that tuned in. Everyone that will watch on archive. Any final words you have for us, Miss Hopewell?
Don't think so.
All right. Well,
I
there
just
you
want
go.
to thank everyone, really, and obviously thank like you two for getting me on for this interview, and everyone at home, all my sponsors. So just want to give them a shout out.
Well, happy holidays to you and your family.
Who
Thank
are your
you.
sponsors,
You
by
too.
the way?
I've got KC Sofas. I've got Mansfield Cost Cutter Stores. I've got Round One Boxing, which is a boxing store. And then there's a corporate gym one. We've got the Lock Gym.
Okay. Well, there you go. We wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to your sponsors there. We want to thank you for coming on. We have to get you back on. Don't forget, if you win the world championship, don't forget about us now. You know what I mean? Like who are you?
Definitely not. I hope you get me back on.
Yes, most definitely. Right. Thank you for coming on, and you have yourself a great one.
Thank you. You too.
Enjoy.
All right, guys. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you.